Hello and welcome. I am Deji Badimasi. On a daily basis, hundreds of Nigerians queue up at the Chinese embassy, both in Lagos and Abuja, seeking one thing: a visa to travel to China, to either do business or seek the golden fleece. Some actually make it, while some don't. Yet some others, for one reason or the other, run foul of the law and wind up in Chinese jails. And from the account of those who have been in and out, Chinese jails are some of the last places you want to be in. The sad reality is that Nigerians make up a sizable percentage of the prison population of China, most of them jailed for drugs-related offenses that mainly carries the death penalty.
My children are asking of their daddy. Two of them, I have two that don't know their daddy. Every time they be asking me about their daddy.
One of those Nigerians locked up in a Chinese jail is her husband, Ozemena Jonathan Dike. He's been there now for over 5 years. Not knowing when her husband would return, Mrs. Dike is now left with the difficult challenge of fending for 3 children, all on her own.
Since then, I've been facing a lot of challenges. I'm having problem here I'm living now. The landlord have already sued me to court. My children are no longer going to school. To give them 3 square meals is a problem.
What did he tell you he was going to do in China?
He went for business trip. He used to import all these teachers. He's supposed to come back, the time he's supposed to come back. I did not hear a call, I did not hear from nothing. So I'll be praying. Some people have said that he's dead. You know, a lot of rumors. But I keep on believing God. So after 2008, he called. He called me. He told me that he's not dead, that he have problem over there. That I then asked him what kind of problem. He said that he's having problem in his papers.
But this document containing the names of Nigerians doing time in jails across China and given to us by a government source who would not want his identity disclosed because he's not authorized to speak to the media, revealed Mr. Dike lied to his wife about the nature of his problem in China. He is currently serving a life sentence in Huzhou prison for drug smuggling. He had initially been sentenced to death, but the verdict was later suspended and reduced to life imprisonment. Mrs. Dike, however, does not know this.
The first day they called me, I said, who is it? They said, my husband wants to talk to me. I say, my husband, is he alive? My husband is alive because many rumors told me that my husband is dead. That I have already that my husband is dead. I said, my husband is dead, so I am a widow. Who am I going to tell the children? What will I tell the children? Even the twins, they don't know their daddy. What will I tell them? They called me, I said, my husband is here. I said, who? My husband from where? He says from China. I said, give him phone. He said, no, they cannot give him phone. But let me speak. If anything I talk, he will hear me.
Another woman with virtually the same story. Charity Okoro, a mother of 4.
Whenever he called us, he's demanding about money. I said, what about the money that you took? You left, he took to China. He said they seized the money. They stole the money, both his handsets. He said the only thing is to feed them. That the food the Chinese people gave them is ordinary water. No pepper, no salt, ordinary thing. Sometimes he cannot eat throughout the day. Throughout 2 days, he cannot eat. So come back to see, he cannot come. Nothing, my husband. He said they have been suffering there. Many people are dying. He said one of their colleagues died with high BP. The sufferness is too much for them.
Her husband, Benedict Okoro, an electronics trader, traveled to China in February 5th, 2008, ostensibly to buy goods.
Around 12, I called him. I called him, Daddy, where are you now? Are you still in airport? He said, yes, they are still in airport. Shortly they will go now. They will leave. Look, I told him, I called him again. He said, Mommy, they are going now. I said, go in peace. You will come back in peace. That's how I hear more from my husband. With money, and he has money. He just carried one briefcase. That briefcase contained the item, the business we are doing. This sample is going to bring there. And with the money.
For the next 1 year, she wouldn't hear from her husband. Then one day, her phone rang.
He called me. He said, Mommy, he's alive. I said, where are you? What's happened? He said, it's a long story. That the day that he entered Chinese, that they have problem there. They have, I don't know what's happened there. Any Nigeria, they saw that they will arrest them. And though many people, they say there are 4, 5 that day, 5 in number, they arrest, they go together, they arrest all of them. I said, what happened? He said, that's how that I should put him in prayer, that only God bring him out here.
We checked out Mr. Okoro's name on the document our source gave us and found out he is serving an 8-year conviction in Beijing Second Prison for drug smuggling. Again, the wife does not know this. And so with an absent husband, Mrs. Okoro says life has been a very difficult struggle.
I am suffering for these children from one hospital. Sometimes this one have from hospital to another. I don't know. One day like this, I say, you see, I am going to die with hunger with these children. And nobody help me. I am going to die with them. I said, let me start one thing. I started doing pap. I did that pap every evening. I take the pap to market. I carry it for my head. I sell it in the evening. I came back. The night I came back. I feed my children. I am suffering. The only thing remains for me is to go to streets and beg money. And beg for people for it, to eat, to succeed with my children, to feed my children. Even this house rent self. So the landlord is coming to tell me that the house rent is due. I should pay him.
Èmi Àkúrẹ́ ni mò ń gbé tẹ́lẹ̀. Ìgbà tó wá yá lọ tára mi ò yá. Wá ní kí n máa bọ̀ ní ọ̀dọ̀ òun l'Ékòó. So a kó wọn jọ yẹn la wà tá à ń gbé. Ibẹ̀ ló ti lọ sí
Meet Mama Diana Farimade.
Ó ti kọ́kọ́ lọ padà wá. Later ó wá padà lọ. Ó lọ ra àwọn tiles òkú wá. Ó wá tó padà lọ náà la gbọ́ pé ó sáà pé wọ́n gbé lọ́hùn.
Her son James Gabriel Adu traveled to China in February 2009, ostensibly on a business trip. But for over 3 years now, Mama Farimade has not seen James.
I have problem. But later, after a year, kó tó di pé ó pè yẹn pé òun ní problem yẹn, ó ti sọ pé òun bọ̀ ó kù bí 6 days tó máa wá sí Nàìjíríà. Kó tó di pé ó wá sọ pé òun ní problem mọ́ mi. Ìgbó wá di after a year, nọ́ọ̀sẹ̀ wá pè. Ọjọ́ tó tẹ̀ pé tó ní mọ́mí èmi ní inú mi dùn gan ni. Kí ló dé? Ó níbi tán wà náà ló kàn déédéé rí tán wá kó wọn. Ó ní wọ́n tó bí 12 tán jọ wà ní ibi tán wà lọ́jọ́ yẹn. Nàìjíríà ni wọ́n o. Nàìjíríà ni wọ́n. Ó ní Nàìjíríà ni gbogbo wọn. Ó ní bọ́kàn sí wá kó wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ nìyẹn. Àtijọ́ náà ló ti ó máa ń sọ á lóun ò pààyàn ò mọ́ mi òun ò gbé cocaine o kí n má fọkàn sí pé àbí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ òun ló le tó bẹ́ẹ̀ o tàbí jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ o.
She says James was her care provider, but now that he's not around, surviving has become a daily grind.
Òun náà ló ń help mi o. Òun náà ni mi lólùrà. Òun gan ló gbé mi kó Àkúrẹ́ ni mo wà tẹ́lẹ̀. Òun ló ní bí mo ṣe sì kí bá bọ̀ lè kó lọ́dọ̀. Àtijọ́ tó dẹ̀ ti lọ náà nìyẹn. Mo manage ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn bàbá ọkọ mi. Àwọn náà ló ń tọ́jú mi tán ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀. Kò sí olùrànlọ́wọ́ àfọlọ́run. Mo dẹ̀ ti dàgbà. Gbogbo iṣẹ́ tí mo tiẹ̀ lè ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀ nígbà tó tiẹ̀ ti di pé ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn á bùn.
tí mo ti wá sí kẹ̀ tí mo ti kẹ́kẹ́kẹ́kẹ́ tí mo ti ṣe tí mo ti dákú tí mo ti dájí ọwọ́ mi ò tiẹ̀ wá ràn kankan mọ́ mo kàn síkì lójoojúmọ́ ni mo ń síkì lójoojúmọ́ ni egungun yẹn kò lè mọ́ fẹ́ mo ti kẹ́kẹ́kẹ́kẹ́ mo ti ṣe mo ti ṣàìsàn mi wá lágbára kankan mọ́.
To find out if James actually told his mother the truth about his situation, we searched for his name in the document. We found it. He is currently serving a 10-year jail term in Beijing Second Prison for fraud. Mama Farimade does not have this information. It is believed that there are over 1,000 Nigerians scattered in jails across China. The statistics obtained from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as at the end of March this year put the figure at 360 convictions spread across 21 prisons in China. The number of awaiting trial inmates is put at 123. 80 out of that figure are for drugs-related offences, while 21 are fraud cases. Robbery accounts for 13, murder 3, theft 2, forgery 2, rape 1, and kidnapping 1. As for the convictions, 320 out of the 360 were sentenced for drug-related offences, 20 for fraud, 11 for robbery, rape accounts for 7, murder 1, and pornographic materials 1. But one very disturbing trend is that out of the 360 convicted, 262 are serving jail terms ranging between 15 years and suspended death. Among those with suspended death is Mrs. DK's husband, Ozemena Jonathan DK, whose conviction has now been reduced to life.
My name is Osita Osemene, the president of Patriotic Citizen Initiative, an organization duly registered in Nigeria to address issues of irregular migration, trafficking, And I am presently, for the past 8 to 9 months, I've been trying to address the issue of Nigerians in China jail. I've been privileged to speak with about 3, 4, 5, 6 of them on phone, calling from the prison. And I keep on asking them, what did you do? The question is, I did not do anything. I did not do anything. I keep on asking, is it possible for fine? At times, there are some countries actually you can be held, but not in that kind of situation where you are held for years and you don't even know when you're going to come out. They keep on telling me, and when I ask their wives or their relatives, they still tell me the same story that he said he did not do anything, that they just came to where they are living and they got arrested.
The last time I was in China, and I think that was October last year, my attention was drawn to the disturbing phenomenon by some Chinese bar leaders. And when the Nigerian ambassador to China knew I was around, Ambassador Wali, he asked for a meeting. And when we met, he expressed frustrations with regard to the increasing number of Nigerians that are being convicted for drug-related offenses in China. The cases of the people in China, of Nigerians who have been convicted, are very bad. There's hardly anything you can do. But I'm more concerned with how we can prevent other innocent young men and women from falling into the same trap. And so as soon as I came back, I did get in touch with the government. Want to see what can be done to publish the names of 4 Nigerians who have been convicted, not just in China, but in other parts of the world. Because I have discovered, to my utter chagrin, that the parents and relations and friends of these convicts are not aware of their fate. Secondly, many other young men and women who may be victims should also be made to realize the full implications of committing drug-related offenses, not just in Asia, in China, but in other Asian countries like Thailand, Taiwan, and the rest of them, because the penalty is death.
When I learned about this, I immediately got in touch with the Nigerian Foreign Affairs Minister, requesting that he gets in touch with the ambassador in China to give us details of Nigerians in prisons, and they did this and they sent the name to us, and I was really shocked to see the sheer number of these young Nigerians. Of course, the immediate thing to do is to begin to start a conversation around this. My ministry has no previous experience in dealing with this kind of issue. The ministry has no experience in dealing with this kind of thing. So it's a new area for us. And we quickly begin to ask ourselves, how do we approach this? Should we advertise these names in Nigerian newspapers so parents and relations of some of these children who didn't know what has befallen their wards will know, and also probably in the process serve as deterrent to other young Nigerians? But as far as advocacy goes, in real terms, what do we need to do as government? So I caused the list to be sent to the secretary to the government of the federation, who said he was going to call a meeting, a high-level meeting of myself, the foreign affairs minister, and of course himself, to begin to see in strategic terms what we need to do, and also engage with the Chinese authorities.
It is not known if that meeting has been called, but we gathered from our source at the Foreign Affairs Ministry that the Nigerian Embassy in China has put forward a proposal on behalf of the Nigerian government to the Chinese government, seeking the exchange of prisoners between both countries. But so far, the proposed bilateral agreement has not been signed.
We are not sure what the approach will be, whether we are going to ask for them to be repatriated to serve their jail term in Nigeria. We don't even know if that is good, because we have problems of capacity to handle that huge number.
On a short-term basis, that should be explored. But from the information at my disposal, the Chinese government will be very reluctant to accede to such a request, in the sense that the Chinese government has a policy to deal with anybody who decides, as it were, to mess up their system. Whether you are a Chinese national or not. Once you are caught in offenses like corruption, drug-related ones, the penalty is death. And on a daily basis, those who are convicted are shot dead. And that is their own, law. And they don't want to allow foreigners to mess up their system, because it has implications for them. If we allow foreigners to engage in corruption, drug-related offenses, only for them to be ferried out of China to their own countries, where their lives are saved. While their own nationals are shot dead, the Chinese government is not prepared.
Another snag to the prisoner exchange proposal is whether Nigeria has Chinese inmates in its jails it would want to exchange for the Nigerian prisoners in China. Apart from the 63-year-old Chinese man Richard Wang, who along with a Taiwanese Wang Chusen was given a 15-year sentence last July by a federal high court in Lagos for importing this container load of cocaine worth 4 billion naira, we do not know of any other Chinese serving a jail term in Nigeria. both men must count themselves very lucky, because in China, their import of 450.4 kilograms of cocaine would have surely earned them the death penalty.
Countries enter bilateral agreement to exchange of prisoners is something at diplomatic level. There are a lot of things to consider. First is the issue of interest, the country's interest, and second, the issue of security. Most countries will be reluctant to receive prisoners from abroad because the offenses were committed there. It costs a lot of money to maintain prisoners. So in countries where a prisoner exchange bilaterals has been reached between Nigeria and those countries, there is also financial implication because you have to also pay money for the country receiving the prisoner to maintain the prisoner for the period of the sentence. Well, having said that, it's not that straightforward legally to exchange prisoners convicted for drug-related offenses, because in Nigeria there is a law called Decree 33, which is the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Amendment Decree 1989, which provides that if somebody is convicted abroad for a drug-related offense, that conviction itself is an offense, which is an offense of bringing the name of Nigeria to disrepute. So when the person serves his term abroad and comes back to Nigeria, he is subject to be again arrested and prosecuted for this offense called bringing the name of Nigeria to disrepute under Decree 33, which is now NDLA Amendment Act.
Now, I had cause to intervene very seriously with respect to a bill pending in the National Assembly to allow for prisoners exchange program. And this one has to do with the British government. And I asked the National Assembly members, there is no British national in any of our jail houses. So what do you want to exchange? Again, this is part of the problem. And so no country will simply say, take those who have been convicted away. But when you now look at the prison situation here, you are going to run into serious crisis in your place. The facilities are not there. To dump 1,000 prisoners in Kirikiri or Ikoyi prisons or Enugu prisons or wherever, the facilities are not there. So this is another problem we have to consider.
Hope for prisoner exchange agreement may not be completely lost. In early January this year, one of China's newspapers, China Daily, ran this story quoting this top Chinese government official, Huang Hukeng, the Director General of the Department of Treaty and Law, as saying the country is willing to sign a prisoner transfer treaty with other countries. The newspaper even reported that the Chinese government has signed such a treaty with 9 countries already. Mr. Hukeng specifically said, quote, "When criminals are extradited, the familiar environment with their families will support their rehabilitation. In addition, other countries will be protecting their own citizens by relieving themselves of the burdens of harboring foreign criminals." End of quote.
Government should seek this issue of transfer, an agreement with China, bring them. Put them in a place. In Nigeria, we have a prison they can evacuate or try to decongest our prison fast so that these people can come back. They can divide them in prisons in Nigeria and they can serve their jail term so that their families can have access to them. The standard of living in prison here is better off because at the end of the day, you see some organizations going to give food, water, mineral. They visit them in Nigerian prisons. If they have that kind of privilege and families visit them, I think the families will be better off emotionally because their people are around.
What preparedness does Nigeria have to receive them? That is one. When Nigeria begin to bring back these prisoners from China, so are we also ready to bring back prisoners from the United States, from Britain, from Australia, from other parts of the world? Do we have such facilities to contain them? Do we have the facilities to rehabilitate them? Do you get the point? I mean, for a country like Nigeria, I believe as a public policy manager that this kind of issue you have to tackle it. Of course, there's a lot of sentimental components for it, but you have to tackle it beyond sentiment and you have to be clear what you intend to achieve. You go to China, you meet these people, they tell you that, well, we are suffering here, we're not happy here, we're happy to be back home. That would be great if Nigeria is prepared to receive them. But of course, another level which is also being brought forward is at least we need to be sure that they had opportunity for fair trial prior to their jailing. So that is another side of the work that we have to do.
Fair trial is a very crucial issue for the Nigerian inmates in Chinese prisons. It is no longer news that the communist country's strict laws have been widely criticized, and with the inmates given just about $5 stipend per month, which approximates to 700 naira, it raises serious questions about conditions inside China's prisons.
It's so terrible there, where they treat people there, because actually there they can torture you physically and mentally.
The torture, or the mentally torture, so it makes you think. No food, we feed ourselves by ourselves.
Maybe the little time you wanted to sleep is when they ask you to stand up, and that time if you don't stand up, it's a big problem for you. They might come and shake your hand, shake your leg. Sometimes they shake their, people's hand at back like this for 2 weeks.
They provide a lawyer, and the lawyer is a government lawyer. That lawyer must not defend you beyond their law. If he did, he's liable to spend 15 days in prison.
Just back from one of the prisons in the Chinese capital of Beijing, Wale and Jide, not their real names, provide some insight into the country's justice system and life as a Nigerian prisoner in China.
They are just taking people to court for formalities. The government go to court, the judge might be sleeping like this, the lawyer, all of them, you decide they are sleeping on the seat. Because they have already concluded what they want to do.
The judge could be sleeping.
You will see them, they will be sleeping. They will be sleeping. The lawyer they provide for you, they call it aids or something like that. The legal aids. The lawyer there is just formality to come there because they are not going to listen to whatever he says. Because he's going to fight for his country. So just to make sure that they want to have to record that we provide lawyer for you, we do that's why they give you lawyer. But it has no meaning. So,
in your case, did you discuss with your lawyer? Did you tell him what you want and all of that?
No. You don't see your lawyer. You just meet your lawyer in the court there. Blah blah blah. You don't even that one, even whatever you say, you don't have any meaning. Even the lawyer, if the lawyer tell them this is how it's supposed to be, they say that one is overruled. Forget that one. So,
the court process was that you don't talk when you get there because you can't speak their language. No translator, nothing. So you see 3 judges, the prosecutors, and the typewriter. So they ask you, did you know this also person? So they tell you check it in the computer. So when they are speaking Chinese, they read it in the computer. So when you say yes, they say okay, this also person, this was their offense, and you are the one that shot them. So they want to see them. Pending the time they see them, you will be under our custody. So that's how everything started.
Wale spent 4 years and 7 months in prison for what was termed a fraud. Yeah. And in that period, he says he appeared in court only once in a year.
That very day, I was in the house, then police knocked my door. I was just wearing my own singlet and a short knicker. So they came in and said that the guys I shot, they do away with their boss money. And they wanted to see me in police station. Now where are they? I said they have never come back home. I'm still waiting for them. They say okay, I have to follow them. So I followed them to the police station. I was there till about 3 o'clock in the midnight. First instance, they snatched all my houses, all my money. The goods I already bought. I have about $40-something thousand in my house. They took all my everything I have. They took everything. So from there, they took me to detention center. From detention center, after 1 year, 4 months, I appeared in the court for the first time. So from the court straight, it took me to prison, where I met Nigerians there.
After the court process, they now sentenced you?
No, I've not been sentenced. It was after 4 years, 4 months. They told me that my file will go to Bureau. That my sentence is supposed to be 6 years according to the Chinese law and according to the Chinese tradition. So now I have acquired points, 90 points, first 60 points and the other one 30 points. So they will give me 1 year, 5 months. So meanwhile, in the next 3 months, you'll be going to see your family. The point system is what they use to control the problem there. If you wanted to cause problem, maybe you fight or you do everything, you started from square one again. Because you started from 1 point, gradually 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, 5 point. For me, I was lucky. So when they took me to prison, I write an article, how to live a harmonious life in prison. So when I wrote those things, they took the paper, and after 11 months, the results come back. So they promote me from 3 points to 5 points, which is the highest. So that's why it took me 1 year, 9 months before I could acquire that first 60 points.
By amassing points for good behavior, he says he eventually regained his freedom after 4 years and 7 months.
Every day we ask everybody here, we shout to our family, please send me money, please send me money. Because we have to do shopping once in a month. When they bring the shopping paper, you write whatever you want of $50, which is 300 RMB for food. The food they are giving, they give us rice in the morning. That rice in the morning as a breakfast, they cook it with water, a lot of water inside. They give us with water, with steaming bread. They call it mantu, white. So if you eat that mantu too much, it gives you blood sugar. They open account for us, agricultural bank. So they open account for each person. So you have your own credit card, but that card is with them. When you went for shopping, they bring it out. You just put the pin. They give you the pin. You put the pin, then they remove the money. So when the money, maybe sometimes embassy used to put money again, at least twice in a year.
He also says the Nigerian inmates in Chinese prisons are earnestly hoping the government reaches some kind of agreement with the Chinese government so that they could come back to Nigeria to serve out their sentence. He, however, warns that things may not move fast.
Their things is gradually. If they start something today, if you don't pressurize them, it can take them 4 or 5 years. Before I don't learn how to be patient, but now I don't see anything that is to make me to be in haste. If I want to do something, I use that psychology that after all I was somewhere waiting for this thing for good 4 years, 7 months. So when you are there, you have to learn how to be patient. They don't do their things in a haste. Gradually, if they want to give you this Anki, just to go there and bought it can take them 6 months. You will be seeing the Anki. No queue, nothing. But they say according to the law.
It's a virtue the Nigerian inmates back in Chinese jails would also have learned, and part of the reasons why some of their family members are making this passionate appeal.
I want the federal government to go and bring them back home. According to what my husband told me, he said there's a lot of, they are suffering there. They say they don't give them food to eat, but they will give them indomie and water. So a lot of people is dying there.
I am pleading and begging our government to help our Nigerian people in Chinese because they are suffering there. Many are dying there. Some people are committing suicide because of the sufferance. I am pleading the government to put effort and let them help those people there to bring them home so that they will come here. Even if they don't want them to stay to come home freely, let them stay in Nigeria here because they are suffering.
Kíjọba jọ kàn help me. Ọ̀nà tó bá lè bá wa gbé gbà táwọn ọmọ yẹn fi máa bọ̀ Nàìjíríà. Kọjọ kan help me. Kán ràn mí lọ́wọ́. Mo ní dàgbà ìyà. Mo ní jìyà kan bá dàgbà tán. Kó ṣàánú mi.
I've tried to plan out, map out a strategy that we're going to handle the situation. The families, fine. I'm planning to have a program with the families of those people in China jail, in Nigeria here, you know, with their kinsmen. We're going to tell them what their people are facing in China, what they have really done, and also see how we can request or ask for help from the federal government to use, because this what has happened is not what you can just come out and begin to apportion blame to government or apportion blame to, you know, Chinese embassy or Chinese government. You see, it's something that has to take a diplomatic approach.
While the quest for that diplomatic approach continues, something needs to be done to check the mounting number of Nigerians in Chinese jails. Almost on a weekly basis, the nation's anti-drugs agency NDLEA makes audacious arrests and charge drug smugglers and barons to court. But with close to 90% of Nigerians in Chinese jails convicted for drug offenses and some for smuggling drugs into that country, questions are being asked as to whether NDLEA is not losing the war on drugs.
The NDLEA today is winning the war against illicit drugs, trafficking and abuse. But the truth is, it is an enormous challenge, because, like you rightly observed, that most of them in foreign prisons, must have committed one drug trafficking offense or the other. But not all that, are serving jail terms abroad, took off from Nigeria with drugs. Most of them went there, in search of greener pastures, so to speak. By our latest statistics, the total, estimated value of drugs seized in 2011 amounted to about 31 billion naira. And that shows how serious it is.
If you are talking about whether we are doing enough of arresting and prosecuting these people who are involved in this thing, I would say yes. Because, NDLEA has the best record as far as arrest and prosecution is concerned in the whole of Nigeria, and from what I hear, in almost the whole of Africa. As far as arrests, seizures, and prosecution of drug offenders are concerned, NDLEA has the best record. In fact, if you compare our output with our resources, you will say that the people who work in this agency, they are magicians.
With just 5,300 personnel in 42 locations and a capital budget of around 100 million naira, which approximates to about $636,000 for this year, the agency could well be performing a magic. In 2011 alone, it made a total of 195,283.917 kilograms of drug seizure. While cannabis makes up the bulk of the figure, cocaine accounts for 410.805 kilograms and heroin 39.752 kilograms. Of the 1,501 cases it took to court, it secured 1,491 convictions, but some of the convictions are like a slap in the wrist.
Take for instance a suspected drug trafficker that is arrested in connection with drug injection, goes to the toilet, did the first excretion, it was weighed, packed, and he endorsed. He went for second excretion, it was counted, weighed, tested, and sealed, and maybe the third and the fourth, only for such an individual to go to court and say he's not guilty. Then who is guilty? Then if at the end of the day, for an offense that attracts 15 years, he gets 1 year imprisonment. We've had a case like that where he was rearrested. Such a person was going again with drugs and was caught. But fortunately, I think on that second attempt, he got 10 years. So this is exactly what we are saying. Let whoever is caught for drug trafficking gets the minimum 15 years as stipulated. Then if you can go all out to say 25 years, good, because the idea is to get them out of circulation. And when you get a drug trafficker out of circulation for a reasonable period of time, it goes a long way in discouraging others who, may be interested in trafficking drugs.
There is need to improve the Nigerian legal system, the Nigerian legal framework for narcotics generally, because this is a law that was made as far back as 1996. That was the last time it was amended. The National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency decree at that time, now Act. Also, revised with decree number 33 of 1999 and of 1989. So these are laws that are very obsolete. But it's not just to lay the blame on one sector, because the criminal justice is a chain that starts with the police or the law enforcement agency, to the prosecution, to the courts, to the prison, and to the appeal system. So there's no excuse from one section should not blame the other. It is a holistic thing.
But whether this would really guarantee deterrent, especially among young people who are extremely desperate for a life of comfort, is difficult to tell.
The best way out of this dilemma is for the Nigerian government to engage the attention of our youths by creating jobs. The other thing I have found extremely painful is that today in Nigeria, and I got this information from China, a leading company in Nigeria has not less than 5,000 Chinese working here and they are engaged in all manners of menial jobs. Some of them are drivers, some are cooks. Jobs that can easily be carried out by Nigerians, but because labor is cheap for them, they are not engaged in trade unions, and it's easier to exploit them. So some of our some of our companies now engage Chinese, Indians, and other, Asians with a view to maximizing profits. And of course, that is to the detriment of young men and women here who are looking for jobs.
On the unemployment situation in Nigeria is something that is a big issue. About 42%, I think, 42%, right? But the point is that we also London explode recently, 26%, right? In North Africa before the Arab Spring, about 15-16%. So unemployment is a big issue, whether you're talking of Italy, or you're talking of Nigeria, or you're talking of London, or you're talking of the United States, right? This does not provide justification for anybody to want to. So I think we cannot view this from the perspective of unemployment. We can begin to look at it from the perspective of desperation and vulnerability, of greed, and the tendency to want to find the shortcut out of the conditions that we find ourselves.
The issue of China really is becoming an emergency issue that we need really to intervene. Not just the committee, but the federal government of Nigeria. You see, people first, your people first. It doesn't matter whether they're up there or down there. It's important to look at cases of Nigerians wherever they are. You have some countries, for just one citizen, you see what even some presidents do. But we have to make people the center stage of anything we do.
Money hope. Agbára nínú orúkọ Jésù mo hope. Ọmọ mi Adélayọ̀.
Unless something happens, Mama Farimade's tears may not dry up until April 2018. That's when her son, Gabriel James, is due to be released from prison in China. For Mrs. Charity, her husband Benedict is expected to join her and their 4 children in Nigeria 4 years from now. He is due for release April 5th, 2016. Sadly, for Mrs. DK and her 3 children, if the Nigerian government does not strike a deal with its Chinese counterpart over a possible prisoner transfer, or the Chinese government reduce her husband's life sentence, their chances of reuniting with the breadwinner of the family, Ozemena Jonathan DK, is very slim. Do you hope to see him someday?
Yes, I have the hope. I believe in God that one day he will come back.
And for how long would you be willing to wait?
Oh no.
We did everything we could to get the Chinese embassy in Nigeria to speak to us on this issue, but we did not succeed. At some point, an embassy staff in charge of media and political affairs asked us to send in our questions, which we did, but he later got back to us saying it was beyond the embassy of China in Nigeria to answer our questions. Senior staff of the Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs we approached for interviews on this subject declined, saying they would need written authorization to do so. We waited for that authorization, but it never came. As for the hundreds of Nigerians scattered across 21 jails in China, it appears it's going to be a long walk to freedom. I am Deji Badimasi, and you've been watching Jailed in China.